Hey guys, in this video I'm going to talk about why I love NPP, which is Nandrolone Phenyl-Propionate. Nandrolone, there's two major steroid classes, the NOR19 steroid class. There's two that are well known. Nandrolone Phenyl-Propionate, NPP, is the shorter ester version. The longer ester version is Nandrolone decuanate. Okay, so the propionate one is only around 5 to 7 days long, which is more ideal. It gets you get it in and out of your system a lot quicker. That's why I love it, and it has many great qualities to it, and it's safe. It's a safe steroid to take. So the brand name was Durbolin back in the day, and it's both an androgen and anabolic steroid. And it was a medication used for the treatment of breast cancer and osteoporosis in women. Okay, due to its anabolic effects, it was used to promote bone growth. That's what it does do, and then you inject it intramuscularly, just like any other injectable steroid. Okay, so I mix it with testosterone as the base, then masteron and NPP is like are the three that I do together in one intramuscular syringe, and then inject that every other day. Side effects include masculinization, just like masteron I talked about yesterday, and that could be virilization in women, causing masculine effects in women. So women, it's probably not the best idea to, although it does have low androgenic effects. It can be, but I wouldn't recommend it. Another side effect is acne, which I'm getting right now, a pattern here and then a pattern like on my back and shoulders, which I never really had before. So I believe it's due to, obviously, the steroids I'm taking. Increased hair growth, got maybe a little bit of that. Voice changes, maybe a slight drop in voice I got. Increased sexual desire. And that's one thing I talked about last week in a video. I also talked about yesterday, which is the compounds I'm taking is increasing my sex drive like crazily. The drug is a synthetic androgen and anabolic steroids, and hence it's agonist to an androgen receptor, biological target of androgens like testosterone and dihydrotestosterone. So I talked about yesterday, you have testosterone, which is the base that you take, dihydrotestosterone, which has very great anabolic effects, but as well, like masteron, it can mitigate the estrogenic effects from testosterone. And then you can add something like nandrolone, which has really great anabolic but very low androgenic. So you're keeping your whole stack low on the androgenic side. It's not like you don't have any androgenic. Androgenic can actually be a good thing as well, because it is like secondary male characteristics, which can be good. You're increasing, but the point of anabolic steroids is the anabolic part. That's what traditionally a clean stack would be, where you have high anabolic and low androgenic total. Okay, if that makes sense. And it's because of these weak androgenic effects in NPP I'm talking about, which make it suitable and really great thing to use for athletes and in bodybuilding. So I talked about how it was used traditionally in medicine, but in recent times it's more it's not used so much in medicine, although I believe it should be. I think it can have, especially for old people, I think it could have a lot of great properties, such as decreasing pain in joints, decreasing pain in general. I heard of people that had like trigger fingers that were taking it, and it totally like helped with that. It could help just like like muscle wasting disorders, like because it's so clean and it's so safe that you could be old people could be potentially taking up to like 100 milligrams a week, very low dose, and probably live better quality of life. Now, I'm getting into why I like it so much. And there's a bit of a taboo on Nandrolone, nor 19s in general, like Deca and like Trenbolone, because of like it can have kind of like a wheel of fortune of side effects that you could get from it. But I think that's more from like when you're taking more on the high dose side of things. Why I use it is not any more than 150 milligrams a week, and that's alongside other compounds I'm taking. Okay, like a test base and something like Masteron. I really don't think you need much more than that. When I was pushing, I pushed 200, 250 a week, and I started feeling like shit. And I believe it was because of that. So it has a molecule very similar to testosterone. There's a slight difference in like bonds and things. So you know those differences can create different characteristics of it. That's why when you create a stack, you put together different molecules that have different bonds, different characteristics, that then together, when it's all added together, is ideal. Because if you just did nothing but just pure testosterone, you know, you're probably, your estrogen would be through the roof, and testosterone has high androgenic rating, like with a 1-to-1, right? Meanwhile, things like Masteron, the androgenic rating is like at like 30, so compared to 100, so it's less. And same with, I believe, NPP. I don't know off the top of my head, but I believe it's around that same. It's around 30, and then the anabolic is above 100, I believe. And so it is relatively high anabolic. And the one why it's so desirable for bodybuilding is it's known for being kind of a wet compound. Not kind of, it is, where it adds like 3D effect to the muscle. Okay, it doesn't like dry the muscle out, it swells the muscle up, and it puts on a lot of size real quick. When you're on any type of Nandrolone, especially a higher dose alongside other compounds, you notice strength and size gains, specifically on the Nandrolone Phenyl-Propionate, because it is such a quick ester. Within 2 weeks, I noticed a big difference. Okay, and I think it's a great stack along with Masteron, which is kind of a drier agent. So between the two, you could, like, if you wanted to go a little bit more bulkier, you know, you might do more on the higher side of Nandrolone, and then if you wanted to be more on the cutting side of things, you might go more on the higher side of Masteron. Okay, so like between those two ratios, along with testosterone, and with even something like Anavar, you know, at different times, you know, you could, the ratios you do between them, you change. You can go between a bulking and a cutting cycle, or even a cruise cycle. I did a cruise cycle taking all three at a very low dose, and that worked. I was making gains on that too. But even though it's known for being a wet compound, like I dried out pretty good on it. You know, it wasn't like I bloated up at all. And also the taboo with Nandrolone is, some people say it can cause sexual dysfunction, something called Deca dick. But again, that's I think in the higher range, and I think that's when you don't have things balanced properly. Like do you have a estrogenic maybe surplus, something like that, I suspect, or it's something else to do with like oxytocin or something else that's like too much in your system. But anyway, I think that can be mitigated, and the main way is just don't do a lot of it, don't abuse it. I think it's ideal also for athletes because of just the strength you get on it. I honestly believe this is why in recent months I've put so much on my weight. Like I just, like, at the gym, put the pin in on a stack of weights, like a really high, like 250 pounds, and I'm just repping that out like nothing. I wouldn't be able to do that before. I believe it has a lot to do with Nandrolone. Now, it is a Schedule III drug, controlled substance in the United States. under the Controlled Substance Act, so it is illegal in some parts of the world, so be careful. And Canada, it's a Schedule 4 drug, but like, I think for personal use in Canada, you could like, if police found it on me, it's not, I don't think they would do anything. But if you were selling it, that's a whole nother story. Or importing it. So don't do that. What else should I mention about Nandrolone? Propionate. I'll get into the fact again to reiterate. Because it's a short ester, it's around like 5 days to a week. That makes it ideal because like the slope of the curve of when you go on it's really quickly. Decanate, it takes a long time, and then when you stop taking it, it's Deca can be in your system for months after, very long months. So if you were get drug tested, if you're an athlete, that wouldn't be good. But not even that, it's just like it lingers, right? So if you if you bumped your doses up on your decanate to like 300 milligrams a week, say, arbitrary number, but relatively high, and you start feeling like shit, anxiety and things, are depressed. Okay, so you decide to go off it. Well, you might need to wait a month or two for that to go away. At least a few weeks for it all to come exit your system, because you got all these esters that are long half-lives in your body. Nandrolone propionate, you'd only have to wait 1 week essentially, and it would exit. And I believe when I did bump my doses up, that's how long it did take for that to subside, around 4 days before it started coming down. Like I was like in a state of anxiety. I made a video about this about 3 months ago. I was in Toronto. Yeah, I felt like shit. Just little things were pissing me off and things. It was like roid rage a little bit, but roid anxiety. It was more anxiety. That, like, there was nothing even causing it. I was just like feeling like shit. And that's when I bumped it up, when I was at like 300. Now, 150, nothing. If anything, there's like a little edge there that actually could be used for like good things at the gym, like a little bit of like a, right? But like nothing, like, it's pretty chill at 150. So I wouldn't go higher than that, at least at first. And do it alongside 150 Nandrolone with a week with like 300 testosterone and 300 Mastron would be a good stack to do for like 3 months. If you're like a relative beginner. If you're more advanced, or if you're like actually a bodybuilder, you might be running like higher than 500 Nandrolone. And I don't know, I'm not a bodybuilder, but I know they do, some of them do like over a gram of testosterone a week, like crazy amounts. But a lot of them are been doing it for 10 years, so it's for them, they're used to that, and they're at very low body fat percentage. So I think that has a difference on how you metabolize these things as well. But again, I don't even want to go there on that. I'm just like a athletic 40-year-old guy who's getting into shape and who does boxing and wants to make gains in the gym, and doing adding 150 NPP to your stack. Say if you're doing testosterone and Mastron, or testosterone and Primobolan, or testosterone and Anavar, and you added a little, and you did some NPP, yeah, your gains will be solid. 150. Some people would say that's low. Not when you're already doing 300 tests like that. That's already a lot. So, adding that 150 on that once on that stack is, you're going to see great gains with very little side effects and very safe. Like I heard of guys that ran 100 Nandrolone a week on top of their TRT for like 20 plus years, no problem. Okay, nothing wrong with their blood work, nothing wrong at all. And Nandrolone is something that actually occurs naturally in the human body, although it is at much lower amounts than testosterone. I heard that had something to do with Nandrolone. It had something to do with like when we're in fetal stage of growth, like we had high concentrations. It was adding, which would make sense because we were just growing so fast in our mothers. But like yeah, the tissue development at that stage is just like multiplying like nuts, right? Well, that would make sense that we would have Nandrolone, but we do have it still to this day, naturally in our bodies. Okay, so for me, that makes it seem like it's something that we can metabolize then a lot easier, and it's not going to damage us. It's not like it's a foreign thing that isn't natural. It is natural. But that being said, in high amounts, natural things can be bad too. Like high amounts of vitamin C, you take too much of that, it can cause problems. Okay, high amounts of iron can cause problems. So it's like, don't abuse it. Moral of the story. 150 at most, I think you'll be good. So I'll leave it there, guys. What are your thoughts? What is your experience on Nandrolone? Either decuonate or phenyl-propionate. I've only done NPP with great results. I'll still continue doing that. So I'm just titrating up my doses right now, preparing. Come 1 week when September starts, I'm going to go full on again next cycle. So wish me luck. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave in the comments section below what your thoughts are on Nandrolone. Peace.